Hi, I'm Melissa Vance with the Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for tuning into Chamber Chat. Today we're at Ivy Tech Community College and we're talking to folks here about next level jobs. Brand new information and you won't want to miss it. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back. Again, I'm Melissa, and today we have three ladies from Ivy Tech Community College here to tell us all about next level jobs. Kim, tell us who you are and what your job is here, and we'll at least do introductions before we get going.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for having us on, Melissa. We're glad to be here. My name is Kim Thurlow, and I'm the workforce consultant for this service area for Ivy Tech. And in that capacity, I work with employers and economic development and chamber offices to connect them to the resources the college has to provide training and education programs.
It's always fun for me to get to work with you because we do so much of the same thing, kind of working with developing the workforce.
Yes.
And it's always a pleasure to be with you.
Thanks. Good to be here.
And Jennifer, tell us about your job and what you do here.
Okay. It's Jennifer Haler, and I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions, and I work with prospective students and getting them information to come to Ivy Tech. And I work with Wayne County, Randolph County, and our Rush County area.
Great. And you've been here how long?
Since 2004. In a couple different roles.
Perfect. And Peg, tell us about you.
I'm Peg Terrell. I'm Associate Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs, and I work with those that oversee all of our academic programs here at Ivy Tech, the Richmond and Connorsville campuses.
Great. Well, again, thank you all for being with us. And I know you've been busy kind of doing your homework and ramping up for this new program called Next Level Jobs. What is that all about? Give us just that overview so we can get started.
Well, sure. The Next Level Jobs initiative really is coming from the governor's office statewide and is supported by the Indiana Legislative Chamber. And it is very focused on really two targeted grant programs statewide. So they're very targeted. One is called the Workforce Ready Grant, and one is called the Employer Training Grant.
Okay.
So recognizing that by the year 2025, we will have a shortage of nearly 1 million jobs due to retirements or just new job openings, the state is trying to be very strategic about using dollars in complement with workforce development efforts to very strategically build skills. So these are two very targeted programs looking at those in-demand occupations in high growth sectors in our state to try to address that gap.
Great. I mean, it's something we talk about all the time. And it's a great, versus where we were a few years ago where there were more people looking for a job than there were openings. Now we've kind of flipped. We have more jobs than we can fill with people these days, or at least people that want to show up and have the soft skills, or maybe they just lack some training to get them where they need to be. And that's where Ivy Tech comes into play a lot and what you all do.
Yeah, certainly.
So what's the difference between those two programs you just talked about?
Well, the Workforce Ready Grant is targeted at really kind of scholarshiping individuals to self-select into different programs we have.
Okay.
The Employer Training Grants allow employers to receive reimbursement for training that they do for new hires. So they're trying to work at skilling people up through these initiatives to retain talent and develop talent and career pathways with these valuable sectors we have.
Great. Now, Jennifer, if someone's listening in and they're saying, I need to learn more about that and I want to get involved, what do they do?
A couple different things that they can do. One is they can go out to the website, which is nextleveljobs.org, and they can fill out some information. They'll pick that they are looking, whether or not they're a student or an employer, and they'll provide their contact information. It'll give them a list of all the programs that are out there. Beyond Richmond, Ivy Tech statewide have a variety of different programs. And then that information gets fed to us here at the campus, and then either myself or my coworker Ty will reach out to the person and get them going on the next step. Or if they hear about it and want to come into campus, they can certainly just come in and anybody can help them out with it.
Sure. Now, are there certain eligibility requirements that go along with that?
There are. You have to be a resident of the state of Indiana. You have to have a high school diploma or a GED. And then you can't already have earned a bachelor's degree or an associate's degree.
Okay.
And students have to be what's considered independent on the financial aid application.
Okay.
So there are a few requirements, but for the most part, as long as you live in Indiana and have your high school diploma or GED and haven't gone into college already, and
Right.
then you're eligible.
Sounds like a really great way for people to get back into education if they've been out for a while or just never taken the step to move toward higher ed, just to get back into the learning environment and pick up a certificate or a degree that they maybe always wanted to have and never got there.
Right.
So what types of programs, Peg, are going to be offered here in Richmond?
Well, as Kim alluded to, the state of Indiana is looking at 5 sector areas where there's high demand. And we would like students to get an opportunity yet this fall semester. So we're targeting 5 specific programs that fall within those 5 sectors that we have added courses in an 8-week format. Those courses will begin October 16th.
Great.
And students can get started. If students want to choose one of the other programs out of that 5 sector area that we offer here, they could get started in January. We would still want them to come in now, go through the process of being admitted and so forth. There's paperwork that they would need to do. But we can get them started yet this semester. So let me talk a little bit about those 5 areas.
Right.
Okay. First of all, we have a program in the healthcare area, and it's patient care, but it's really a big focus on CNA. There is such a shortage of CNAs in this area.
Yes.
We get more calls than we can help to fill, and but it's more than just CNA, and of course CNA, the Certified Nursing Assistant. With the patient care, a student also gets coursework in dementia care, medical terminology, the customer relations aspect, so it really broadens and gives them even more opportunity.
Great.
So students there then, of course, are prepared for the CNA certification. We also have a program that'll start that is cybersecurity. And of course, with all the media that we hear about the security issues, this program would train students for being able to identify and fix computer security attacks.
That's great.
And students that pursue that would actually be prepared for 2 different certifications, the CompTIA Security Plus, as well as the Network Security or Network Plus, both CompTIA certifications.
That's fantastic. I know there's also that a lack of enough employees in the IT sector. And our last episode, we actually had Optimize IT on the show talking about cybersecurity, and it's such a huge topic right now. IT in general has been a much talked about profession for a while, but this is a whole new realm.
Yes, and each of our programs here at Ivy Tech have advisory committees, so we bring in people from the community to help give us information on what the needs are. And cybersecurity was something we heard over and over again. And we've now had that program for just a little over 2 years.
Great.
So, and then we also have a focus again for being able to start October 16th. One would be Business Administration Technical Certificate. This is perfect for those incumbent workers who would really like to maybe advance in their job, perhaps get into supervision or management. And they would have coursework that would include management, human resource management, crisis management, some marketing, business ethics, as well as other coursework as well. But you can see how that would really help them to maybe be able to advance
Absolutely.
in their, from their current role.
Absolutely.
And then in our technology side, we have a certificate in industrial electrical. We've had such a demand for industrial maintenance, and this would be the electrical side of maintenance, but it'll help to fill some of those gaps. So while there are a lot of electrical courses, PLC and so forth, students also that are in that program can earn certifications in the MSSC production and maintenance awareness certifications.
That's great.
So-
I was actually just talking with one of the employers a couple weeks ago, and that's an area that they have vacant positions they haven't been able to fill, which I'm sure you know, but it's really neat to see that all of these things are aligning with the needs that we're hearing on a regular basis in the community from our chamber members.
Well, it's the community input that helps us to make sure we're meeting those needs, so we always appreciate that input. And then the fifth area that we're targeting is the area of robotics and automation. And this would be a technical certificate. And with that technical certificate, it prepares students to be able to do maintenance and repair for manufacturing, well, the automated manufacturing type of equipment.
Sure.
And with this, there's robotics classes, several different areas of automation, as well as gets into a little bit of electrical, the PLCs, and some of that area.
So these are all certificate programs, is that correct?
They are. There are two that are technical certificates. They would be take at least a full year, and then the others would take at least 2 semesters, which
Okay.
we consider a year to be 3 semesters.
Okay, great.
Counting our summer.
And then if they get into that and they decide they love it, they want to go on and get an associate's degree or something like that, I assume all of these classes can just move toward into that next degree level.
They do. It is built where they can just continue to advance. And while with this program, it's really focusing on getting them in the workplace quickly and giving them those skills. But we'd be glad to have them come back and to continue on.
I'm sure a lot of the adult community that's already in the workforce probably have families and volunteer things that they're already doing. To go back to school, it really takes some drive to get them back to school, but knowing that they can complete something like this in a short amount of time, not have to be in school part-time for 8 years to get their degree, I'm sure that that's going to be a little more attractive, hopefully, to those that are listening today and to those that you reach out to in the community.
Yes, I think that's definitely who this initiative is looking to speak to, and to give the opportunity to receive this state funding to be able to go back and skill themselves up to get new opportunities. And just like you mentioned before, sometimes these are the folks that just do not think about going back to retrain, or maybe they've had barriers or distractions.
Right.
And this is very well suited to attracting those folks to this opportunity.
And a lot of times those barriers are financial barriers, so having the governor really take hold of a program like this and and push it out, it means a lot. It means a lot to the individuals and small communities like ours. So who are the most likely candidates for the Workforce Ready grants?
I would say anybody that's looking to further their education. This really works to where you're not going to have to pay out of pocket, take out student loans. It's a good way for somebody to come in and get a quality certificate education and not have the out-of-pocket expense that they may have had otherwise.
Sure. And are there non-credit programs as well?
There are. We're planning some short-term non-credit programs that do qualify for the funding. They would result in a recognized industry certification. So we are looking at the Certified Production Technician, which many of our employers here support, and also at the NIMS CNC Operator program, which is something that some newer employers here in town are also looking for people to hire in. So
Great.
Those are programs that we can run that result in an industry certification that also has crosswalk credit, we call it. So it's academic currency. If those folks went through a short-term program with us that results in an industry credential, they can, like you mentioned before, stack that and build that into an academic pathway. So it really all works in their favor.
Perfect. Well, what else is going on at Ivy Tech that you might want to throw in there and talk about today while we're here? We might as well tap into some other great things happening here.
Well, I might want to mention about the employer training grant piece.
Yes.
That's kind of a new portion of the initiative as well.
Okay, great.
Just because employers can also go to the same website that we'll share with you, the nextleveljobs.org, and if they're an employer, they can elect that option. And the Department of Workforce Development would then be in contact with them so they can sign up for training for new hires. So that's
Great.
targeting new hires, which a lot of times companies want to train up, but they may not want to take the time or incentive to do that. So by using this employer training grant, they can train folks that they hire, and then within 6 months, DWD comes back and works with that employer to reimburse them for that training expense. So it really works to...
Fantastic.
It's a very creative option, and Ivy Tech's very involved with that as well. And so, like you mentioned earlier, it brings a lot of resource to a smaller community like we serve.
It really does. I mean, when you think about some of these manufacturers and the amount of time that they have to put into training their employees just to get them ready to go, having a partner like Ivy Tech at their side helping them get those folks trained, it cuts down on time away from their current employers' jobs to do that training.
Well, and employers of any size can apply, which I think is also a great benefit, because those sectors that we talked about, and I'll have to look at my notes and sheet, but the sectors that the state is focusing on is the advanced manufacturing, agriculture, IT and business services, building and construction, health and life sciences, and transportation. So this applies to many sectors in our community, even in a smaller area that we serve out here.
Absolutely. So if somebody wanted to get more information, is it better to contact you, or is it better to go to the nextleveljobs.org site? Where should they start? I know we've mentioned that site. Is that the best place to go first?
Go ahead, Peg.
At that site, there's a lot of good information. There's a question and answer sheet, so a lot of the questions people have, they can take a look at that and probably get some of their questions answered there. We would be glad to have them come in as well. And when they come in, they would start out at our express enrollment area, and people in express enrollment can direct them where they need to go.
Great. Great. So what else? Did we leave anything out in regard to this or something else?
I might mention some of the programs that if people were interested in the 5 specific programs I mentioned that would be starting in October, but would rather get a start in January, then there are many other programs, and we offer several of those that are on the list that they'll find at that website. But some of them that I might mention would be things such as in welding and automotive, as well as nursing. The licensed practical nursing falls under that, and accounting, and there are just many, many other programs. So I just didn't want people to think it's basically those 5. There are many programs out there and available.
Absolutely. And it's been neat to watch Ivy Tech over the years grow, become more ingrained in the community. And then the other thing that I really like is how the higher ed institutions in Richmond partner together and really work together for the betterment of the community and serving people at every level with every interest. And you all serve this really great niche of folks that just want to provide for their families, they want to better themselves, and it's just nice to see yet something else coming to the forefront that Ivy Tech is taking the ball and running with, so to speak. So it's really, really great to see. Well, thank you all for being with me today. I really appreciate it. We have, again, Peg Terrell. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
and
you.
Jennifer Haler in admissions, and Kim Thurlow, workforce consultant. And just thanks again for all that you do for our community and joining us today, helping share some of these new things with our viewers.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Now I have with me Darryle Decker, who is on our Chamber Business and Education Committee, and I've gotten to know him that way, but he is the Assistant Director of Career Development. And so we're going to chat a little bit about career development, what that means at Ivy Tech.
Right, okay. Well, like most colleges, we were called Career Services at one time.
Okay.
And that's, the focus then was to catch students on the very end of their education and just prepare them for the workforce through things like resume building, covering cover letters, also maybe interviewing skills, things like that. But
Sure.
what we found out is it would help our retention if we changed our focus to career development, caught these students like from day one. So let's just say Melissa Vance comes into Ivy Tech one day off the street and says, I want to be a student here, but I'm not really sure what I want to do for a living. Well, then career development could step in and we could offer assessments, find out what they want to do, what they're good at, what they think they're going to be good at, and then
Right.
match up an academic program to that.
How long of a process is that? What does that look like?
That looks like, well, again, our model is from day one. So again, we can capture a student from day one, offer a few assessments to see, again, their skills and their interests. And then along the way, we have a flagship program called Workforce Excellence, which I can go into that in a little bit if you'd like. And just certain development tools until we get them to the end. And when they're positive they're ready to go into the workforce, then we can pull out the old career services functions, I guess I should say, and then offer the resume writing and the cover letter writing and the interviewing skills,
Right.
things like that.
That's so important because, so many students graduate high school, they think they have to know what they're going to do for the rest of their lives, but they're scared to death they're going to make a mistake, or they might head in one direction because
Right.
grandma said that's what they should do, when really their skill set is in a whole different area.
Exactly.
Having people that are maybe less emotionally involved in their lives, but still can step in and be good mentors, taking them through that process.
Yes.
It's a good thing.
That is certainly what we try to do, yes. And think of yourself as a student, again, who's maybe not sure what they want to do. If they feel better about what they're pursuing, they're likely to do better in classes.
Right.
And also do better on the job when they do enter the workforce.
Right. I mean, I know my daughters, they started college thinking they were going to do one thing and changed. And it's just really nice when there's somebody that can be at the university kind of holding their hands and walking them through that process of decision making and making sure that they're going to land in a place where they're going to succeed.
Right. And keep in mind, I don't operate in a vacuum. I work with the advisors and the faculty, so we're all part of the success team.
Right. So tell us a little bit about this new Workforce Excellence program that falls under what you're doing.
Okay. If you're an Ivy Tech student, you certainly you can, we'll say, sign up for this program. Some instructors require it as part of their professional development in their classes, okay? But it covers 4 different modules, and these are labeled professional skills. These are what the employers are saying that the workforce could really use some improvement, on. So this helps hone these skills.
Right.
To mention all 4 of them, Module 1 is critical thinking and problem solving. Okay. The next one is professionalism and work ethic. All right. And then the third one is teamwork and collaboration. And the fourth one is oral and written communication.
Oh my goodness.
And again, when of course the students, this is interesting to them, but when I show them to our local employers, they're like, oh, that's exactly what we need.
Yes.
We as in the area,
Yes.
not just Ivy Tech students.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Right.
You give somebody who can excel in all of those areas, every employer in the county is going to do a cartwheel probably when they walk through the door.
Right. So now it's my job to educate more employers of this program. So if an Ivy Tech student walks into an interview and says, maybe has a printed out certificate, they've completed all 4 modules, then they'll stand out from the crowd.
That's great. So if someone wants to learn more about this program, where do they go?
They can go on our website, which has probably been mentioned, www.ivytech.edu, and then type in career development, okay, with a hyphen in between career and development.
Okay.
And that'll pull that up, and then there will be a link to the Workforce Excellence Program.
Great. Well, thank you for all that you do and helping develop the incoming workforce and the students here at Ivy Tech, and for the work that you do on our Business and Education
Sure.
Committee. The skill that you bring to our committee is really valued, and so I just want to say thank you for being part of that.
Well, yeah, I'm glad to do it. So thank you.
Thanks for being here.
All right.